I am back in Trailmakers, and today I'm going to be making a new weapon of my own design. I'm going to combine the concept of an orbital cannon and a railgun and just merge them together so I can have an orbital cannon that shoots a rod from really high up in the air, really fast, and to hit a target with a bunch of kinetic energy to do damage. So that means no dynamite whatsoever, just physics for this weapon today. Let's get to work on the first part of this build, and that is designing the rod. I'm gonna use some gyros for this because I'm gonna have the system on max dampening. So with the strength at 10, it should really help the projectile keep like a straightforward trajectory and not try and spin out or whatever. Also gonna add a bunch of weight to this too. I think 4 of these weight blocks should do nicely, and the rest can just be rounded pieces. And finally, I want some way to keep this stabilized, and I'm actually gonna do something quite unique. I'm going to use an oar, and I'm gonna have this oar orientated like this. So this should provide like an omnidirectional stabilization. And with that nice and simple rod, that is done. So let's just give that a save. For the next part of this build, I need to actually make the railgun. And for this, I'm going to be using magnets with a negative output. So instead of attracting objects, it actually repels them. I always call these magnets because they used to be called magnets, but now they're called tractor beams. So I guess I should get with the times, you know, and stop calling them magnets. So I'm thinking to have them in this orientation and have the rod in the middle. Actually, let me just pull that out. Okay, yeah, there we go. So I'll have the rod in the middle. These magnets should be close enough to assist in pushing this thing really fast, but also with enough distance and gap to actually not mess up the shooting mechanism. I might also just do a bunch of magnets behind the rod as well, so it just gets the perfect amount of propulsion. Well, it's not propulsion, is it? It's just getting pushed by magnets, so... Okay, so that is pretty simple. Only place I could possibly connect this rod to the build itself is from these gyros. So I might actually get rid of some of these tractor beams, put some of them back like this, and get a 1x2 with a detachable block ready so I can actually attach this to the main build itself. There we go. And now I need to make sure I connect all of these tractor beams to each other. So I think I'll just go ahead and use some 1x4s for now. Okay, so this just looks like a big blocky mess, but it is a railgun. It's more of a rail cannon because it's engulfing the whole projectile. But what I need to do is go into my configurations and change my keybind to the negative output. And let's get a random seat. There we go, go-kart seat. So let's face down the runway here. I can charge up my tractor beams, and then when I press the release... Okay. All right, the projectile did go pretty far, but it also pushed me really far backwards, so I guess a lot of force was lost. What I could probably do is use an anchor pin for testing really quick. All right, the system is now essentially glued to the ground, so let's try this again. It shot. It's weird because it's silent. It shoots silently. So here's the original test. That's how far it got. And then here is the one we just did with the anchor pin. And you can see how much further it actually went because I was locked into position. Well, you know what? I actually want to see if I can shoot one up in the air. Right, there it goes. Whoa, that's pretty high. I'm pretty sure that went to like the height of this mountain here. Okay, that was pretty deadly. What if I zero drag this? To reduce the drag, basically glitch out the drag so this projectile can go even faster. Oh, yes, we're doing that. That might be the trick we need to make this even more effective. But yeah, that's essentially the main railgun cannon done now. So what I need to do is make it so it can shoot from an orbital cannon and be able to point in any direction I want. So let's make those changes and get upgrading this build. Scrapman actually made an orbital cannon, and I'm gonna take inspiration from his design because he's got like a ring around his main cannon. But his isn't a railgun, it's just a piston-propelled tank cannon. But yeah, this thing essentially just needs to float at an altitude in mid-air. Ooh, this also allows me to use the new aiming servo. I think the toughest part will be actually designing the ring itself. Just a difficult shape to get down, I think. Okay, this ring isn't too bad. It's more square than anything, but then again, that's fine. I still need to add my stabilization because it's going to be crucial that the ring part of this build stays completely level. So let's get those gyro stabilizers in place. All right, there we go. All of the gyro stabilizers are in place. They're all at max strength, and there's 2 on each side. So 2 here, 2 here, 2 here, and 2 here. Oh, dang. I just realized I don't really know where I can put my seat right now. That's fine. It doesn't really matter where the seat is just yet. This is just a prototype. But now we actually need to make this thing hover in position. And we're going to need a lot of propulsion for that. Man, this is getting into like a lot of power cores now. We're at 76 power cores, and I've added a bunch of these gyros just to make everything more smooth and, you know, gyro dampening. It's super handy. I love this feature. Alright, so I've just strapped on just a bunch of these space thrusters. Hopefully this should be enough for us to actually get me in the air. And I've also changed it so I can control it with the traditional rotating servos, because the aiming servos was actually getting in the way of things. Like, it was just tough. It wouldn't really make sense for this particular build, so I've made that slight modification. But let's see if we can actually get in the air. Alright, we are in the air. I don't have any hovering logic yet, so I just need to hold space. But with pressing shift and control, I can aim the cannon up and down, or forwards and backwards, I should say. And let's see if I can shoot this thing. So let's charge up the magnets, and then... Oh, it actually exploded. I don't know if you guys saw that properly, but that looks menacing. But if I shoot it from this range, look, let's see what actually happens. Yeah, see, it didn't even break. So I guess the higher I am, the more kinetic energy I can deal as damage. Alright, time to make this thing actually hover now, as in doing the hover logic. Okay, the hover logic is done, so now when I press space, oh yeah, it's hovering, look at that. It's still going down just a little bit though, because it is really heavy, so I might need to add more thrusters to balance it out. Wait, did I even connect all of the thrusters? I did not. Okay, that's probably the reason. Okay, yeah, there we go. That's more stable. So now I can bring the build up by pressing space, and then bring the build down by pressing Alt. So I can essentially get the altitude I want for my orbital cannon. I also added a camera, so when I press 1, you can see that I can just see down. So I can aim up and down with my orbital cannon there. So let's actually charge it up. Fire! Ooh, okay. I think, like, the more steep the angle, the less effective my orbital cannon is. And to prove this actually can do damage, I have spawned in this, like, trailer. Fire! Oh. That was a miserable miss. So my reticle is actually not in the right place. It's kind of towards the top left of where I'm actually shooting. 3, 2, 1. Oh, dude. That put a massive hole in that. So it doesn't look like it's going very fast, but dude, I'm telling you, that is crazy damage right there. So what I need to do now to make this more easy to control is have an anti-drift system, because it's drifting all over the place in the sky, and I need that to stop. Okay, so that was pretty simple to make. So now when I go up in the air, I'm not drifting around. It's keeping me kind of center bound now, but I can still manually override and go forwards and backwards, and also left and right. I could probably lower my output on my speed sensors, so that means I still get the anti-drift system, but I can override my controls faster, like that. Yeah, there we go. I can start moving a little faster. Nice. I was thinking, instead of having a cone, because what I'm having issues with is making a reticle centered. Instead of having a cone, what if I just used like a tank cannon? Because this has its own reticle and it's perfectly centered. And also because of the zero drag, it doesn't matter that this isn't aerodynamic. The zero drag makes it aerodynamic. That actually might be something that works here. All I gotta do is take off the control for the actual tank cannon. All right, so here I am in the camera, and you can see I can actually see the side of the tank cannon, or the, you know, the front of the projectile. And let's see how accurate it is. So magnets on. You know what? That is actually really close to where the reticle is. I think it's just low-key, like the angle. So when I'm actually aiming at an angle, it's slowing it down. But if I aim straight, like above the target, and then just shoot down like this... Yes, that's the damage I'm looking for. The whole projectile exploded. Okay, well, I'm super happy with my orbital rail cannon. Now it's time to actually make it look pretty. So I'm gonna get to work on that. And here she is. I spent some time making this look as awesome as possible. I've used a bunch of intake pieces. I've added these things on the side, which I'm about to showcase. Yeah, it just looks like a satellite, basically. It looks like something NASA would potentially build. Hopefully not, though. If NASA built something like this, I'd be very, very terrified. But all I'm trying to say is it looks very space, and that's the whole theme with this orbital cannon. So let's spawn it in. For some reason, it keeps putting me in the camera by default, which is fine. I just don't know why it does it by default. But you can see that I can still move up and down. So I've added more thrusters to account for all the new cosmetic weight. But if I press 2, I can actually open these things up. And these are supposed to be like solar panels, I guess you could say. But yeah, it just makes it look devastatingly awesome. So let's go into camera mode and then fire. Boom. We definitely need some targets to use this on, because this is so cool. Okay, so I've managed to get some targets here. We have an enemy ship, an enemy tank, actually 2 enemy tanks, and an enemy airbase. So these are the targets I can actually take down, well, attempt to take down using my actually, this needs a name. My rail cannon, orbital cannon, but I don't want to say cannon twice. So rail orbital cannon. Or orbital rail cannon. There we go. We figured it out. So the targets are ready. I'm also ready. Let's do this. So let's activate our camera. And I've actually enhanced the zoom on my camera a little bit. So we have 2 tanks there, down there. Let's try and get this tank here. So, ooh, this might be a little tricky. You know what? Let's see what happens if I just put the reticle right over the tank like this. Unsuspecting tank. Will I hit him? Charge up the cannon and fire. Oh, no, we're way off. We are way off. Okay, so the zoom has actually made a big difference there. Okay, so we've gone back to this version where my camera isn't as zoomed in, so hopefully I can actually get a more accurate shot here. 3, 2, 1, fire! Oh, dude, that was so close. So here we go. Perfect position. What? The physics completely destroyed that tank. Wow. Okay, that was a successful target destroyed. So that's 1 down. That's 3 more to go. I sent him to another island. All right, I have my air repair back. So we now have our projectile, and let's go for the second tank. This one will be at a bit of an angle, so I'll shoot slightly to the left of it, because obviously the camera, like I said, is not centered. Charge the cannon and fire! Oh, that got extremely close. That got really close. Just slightly more to the left, and I would have had him. Charge the cannon and fire! Oh, what? Okay, it's like a different result every time. Charge the cannon, fire! Boom! Destroyed. Kinetic energy. That is so satisfying. So that's 2 out of 4. The next one is enemy base, and it actually has a bit of high ground, so I need to get a little higher here. Realistically, my orbital cannon should be in space, but it's his Trailmakers. I think this will be the easiest target. Let's just go for it. Charge the cannon. Perfect the aim a bit. There we go. 3, 2, 1, fire! Oh, amazing. That leaves the last target, the enemy ship, which probably might be the most difficult to hit because it is on the open ocean. So if I miss, my projectile is just going straight into the sea. To be fair, it is a decently sized battleship. Let's try and just get straight over him. All right. Might have overshot it a little bit. Okay. All right. It's looking pretty good. Think about there. Should be fine. Fire! Oh, I hit it, but I guess because it's in the ocean, the impact didn't do as much damage because he just kind of absorbed the blow. My one weakness, water. 3, 2, 1, fire! Oh, that's a straight miss. Okay, got my projectile back into the camera. And let's just try and get directly overhead. Three, two, one, fire! Nice. Dude, one of the blocks actually came up to like my height. Alright, so that is all the targets down. This thing is actually super effective if you can aim it properly. Definitely a challenging build to build though, but we managed to get there in the end. And yeah, really awesome that I can use kinetic energy without dynamite to actually blow up a target. Physics, guys, physics. If you want to see me build anything else cool like this contraption and this creation here, definitely leave your suggestion down below. And whilst you're at it, why not consider subscribing? It's free. But anyway, that's enough from me, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!